Farming games are among my favorite to play, but I feel like there are so many of them where it's getting a little bit difficult to choose from, don't you agree? That's why I decided to introduce you to different titles that you need to play next by following 3 categories to make things easier: beginner friendly, intermediate, and advanced. Hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. Make sure to check the pinned comment down below because some of the games that I will mention today I've already covered on the channel in a little bit more in-depth videos. Without further ado, let's get started. Let's start with our beginner-friendly list, and the first game that came to my mind was Garden Paws. This one is so cute because you get to play as different animals and dress them up, while the farming aspect is super easy where planting and harvesting are simple enough. You're gonna be receiving a lot of quests to guide and help you, and you unlock different mechanics step by step, and you also manage a shop, which is so fun, and you can choose what items to sell. As you progress, you'll meet Frank. He's a construction worker, and you slowly advance your town and take care of the villagers. I think this game is a must-buy if you want something that is a little bit chill, relaxing, and it gives you those feel-good vibes while slowly introducing yourself into the farming genre. I covered Garden Paws on the channel a little bit more in depth than this, so make sure to check it out if you're interested. The next beginner-friendly game is called Verdant Skies. This one I saw a long time ago, but I finally gave it a try and I'm so happy that I did. Here you land on a planet with 2 citizens and slowly work your way into building a more inviting space. Got the pun. So more and more shops can join you. The gameplay is straightforward and you can even use the crops that you harvest to play around with their genetics and make something new. The art style is different, as you can see, and you can also do the typical romancing and social sim aspect that we usually see in these kinds of games. Another beginner-friendly game that I want to talk to you about is called Immortal Life, and I actually covered it the other day on the channel. This focuses on Chinese folklore combined with some magical aspects that are intertwined with farming and a beautiful story to uncover. The music is amazing, the art style is very colorful, as you can see, and it's just very inviting. Overall, there's so much to do apart from farming, like fishing, cooking, mining, and more, and I had a blast, especially with the cooking mechanic, because it was very engaging, unlike other farming games. Despite it being in early access, I believe it has so much to offer already, and I can only imagine how much further it will go from here. Now, this one had a little bit of a rough launch because it was just not doing that well, but now it's so much better, and it's called Story of Seasons: Pioneers of Olive Town. This is as farmy of a game as they can get, and yes, I made up that word and you can use it, you're welcome. You'll get your grandpa's farm to look after, and the mayor, who is just he's very weird. You're gonna see that when you play. He'll be slowly teaching you about the different things that you can do. Now, of course, farming is tied to the different seasons, but it's very simple to navigate. But what I like the most about this one is that it will appeal to anybody who loves collecting. You'll have different wild animals to take pictures of, kind of like Pokemon Snap, and different items to donate to the museum. And of course, you'll get lots of super cute barn animals to raise. I mean, how adorable do they look? You also have your social sim aspect of giving gifts and celebrating birthdays, as well as festivals to build better friendships, and eventually you can get married. If you skipped this one before, the devs, as I said, worked on it and it's much better now. I can't simply talk about farming games without mentioning Littlewood, which is one of my favorite indie farming games. This is by no means an okay, we can only farm game. No, no, no. On the contrary, it has so much to offer in such a cute and charming setting that will keep you coming back for more. If you're like me and the pixel art style right now might put you off, because, you know, it just feels a little bit too pixelated for my liking, trust me, it will grow on you. Here you wake up in a destroyed village where you just can't remember anything that happened, but you realize that you need to rebuild it back up. So you'll take on the task of terraforming, inviting NPCs over, building and decorating their houses, fishing, mining, farming, taking friends with you on adventures, and much more. If you want something to play where you have endless content to enjoy, then this should be in your library. So when I was making this list, I just thought, you know what, I have to re-talk about Epic Chef. I made a video about it and I still don't see a lot of people talking about it, so we need to change that. This game is hilarious and the farming aspect is really easy. You buy a haunted mansion that you had no idea that was the case, and the soil in there happens to grow crops at an extremely fast speed. Also, the crops that you plant have different amount of yield. I hope that this is what they call it. So basically, you don't have to keep replanting it. You can harvest the crops for a limited amount of time, and that makes things just easier to navigate. Apart from that though, you follow a fun story with quirky characters, and at some point you will run your own restaurant. The world is small enough so you're not gonna be getting lost, and I feel like the linear storytelling helps you keep on track. Despite that, you take part in cooking competitions that can be quite tricky to master, but of course, as everything else, there's plenty of guides online that will help you. This game needs to be played by more people, I'm telling you, and again, I have a more in-depth video about it on the channel. Another farming game that is excellent for beginners, and it's actually two games and both of them combine also RPG mechanics, are My Time at Portia and My Time at Sandrock. Portia is the original first game and Sandrock is its sequel. Now both of them offer you really easy farming mechanics where you don't really have a lot to worry about. Plus the addition of the RPG mechanics in the form of skill trees helps you become more efficient in what you do. I love that we can go on quests of ruin exploration, we have plenty of things to donate to the museum, fun relics to uncover, and some good enough combat to engage in. The characters are fun to interact with, but they're more like kind of stereotypical in both games, so if you're okay with that, then that should be fine. But you know, this is the type of game where you say, okay, one more hour, one more task, one more day, and then you end up playing for 2 hours and you're like, where the heck is the time going? Now at this stage, if you want a more complete experience, then go with Portia, but if you want the newer, shinier, more pretty looking experience that even has more things to offer, even in early access, then I would say go with Sandrock. So we talked about some games that are excellent for you to start in the farming genre, but it's time to add some oomph to the gameplay and go into the intermediate lists. And let's kickstart our list with Yonder, the Cloud Catching Chronicles. Here you have 6 different farms to build and use, and each has its own, different garden plots on them, but you can also have places for animal pens. The reason why I put this in the intermediate bundle is because the success and rating of your crops is related to the overall happiness of the different villages that you're gonna be interacting with. So farming has a little trick to it. However, the beauty of Yonder does not only lie in the farming aspect, but also the fun of discovery and exploration elements that invites you to look around and see what you can uncover next. By using a compass with light guiding you through, you'll be enjoying your time wandering around and figuring out what kind of fun objectives you can find next, and the graphics, they are really beautiful to look at. Staxel is a farming game that borrows a lot of graphical inspiration from Minecraft, but it does a really good job to still distinguish itself and create its own blueprints in the farming genre. This one, as pretty much all other farming games, you have to work on rebuilding a worn down farm, and Staxel offers you lots of crops to grow, barn animals to take care of, shops to visit and buy from, villagers to meet, and hobbies to take part in. This sandbox also allows you to be creative because you can shape your world and alter your surroundings to make sure that you build your perfect paradise. The reason why I think it is more for intermediate players is due to the fact that the game does not really hold your hand, so you're on your own for the most part. Oh, and the fun thing is that you can go online and play with some friends if that interests you. Now, you can't expect for me to talk about the ultimate farming guide without mentioning none other than Stardew Valley. This one, just like, Witcher 3 let me go back into RPGs, this is the one why I got back into the genre after such a long time. The game really throws you into Pelican Town with so many characters to meet and mingle with. But the best part is the collection of crops, fish, food, artisan creations, and animals, to name a few. Your crops are tied to different seasons, and if you plan on making enough money to expand your house and raise a family, then making sure that your crops are well fertilized, having enough scarecrows and sprinklers, and making use of the greenhouse will be essential. I will tell you right now though, if you want to enjoy this one to the max, stay away, and I repeat, stay away from Jojo Mart. Other than that, be ready to enjoy an amazing game with awesome characters and a low-key intriguing story. Speaking of things that we can do when we're creating this ultimate guide, we cannot forget about the best handheld that made us reconnect with farming games. Yes, I'm talking about the 3DS. It brought us a lot of Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons titles, and the one that I'm gonna choose right now is Story of Seasons Trio of Towns. I think this is a must-buy if you own a 3DS. This game is all about trying to prove to your family that you can be a good farmer. The setting though is what makes it super fun. You have 3 different towns to unlock, each with their own stores and characters and unique items to sell. And farming here is tied to different seasons and you have many barn animals to take care of. However, despite the tutorials, you might find yourself asking a few too many questions which the extensive wiki online will definitely have answers to. That's why I believe this one is a little bit more catered towards the more intermediate players. All in all, you have to try this. Sunhaven had no problem making sure that I was hooked to the amazing gameplay loop and the beautiful graphics. It really is a magical time to play, and it has seen a lot of changes since it first rolled into early access. Now this is another one that you can play with friends, but I personally enjoyed it in solo mode. Not only do you have a fun storyline to enjoy with lots of awesome characters to meet, but the gameplay loop is engaging where you always wonder what you can do next. Trust me, you're gonna be unlocking a lot of things. You also have access to 2 farms, one that is, you know, in the original land where your house is, and there's another in Withergate, and Withergate is beautiful. And if I'm not mistaken, every land gives you access to different crops that you can harvest. Now the devs have also given us an extensive skill tree to scratch that RPG itch, so you have around 100 skills to acquire. Oh, and by the way, you have different races to choose from and 15 romanceable NPCs, which all have their own unique personalities. This one goes in the intermediate list because the combat system is a bit difficult, but I think it's so worth it. If you're interested, I did cover it a while back, so check it out. Now, if you know me, then you know that I adore Rune Factory 5, so it was very natural to have it in this list. The reason why I place it in the intermediate category though is because the crops can be analyzed through the magnifying glass and your soil has so many stats to take care of. So this can be a little bit overwhelming to deal with for beginners. However, the plethora of fun people that you get to meet, the storyline, the monsters that you can tame, and the other ones that you can fight all make this a unique experience. I've talked about this game twice on the channel before, and here I am talking about it for the 3rd time, and I still believe that this game is amazing, even though it had some performance hiccups on the Nintendo Switch. And hey, in all cases, it was released on PC too, and it seems like it's running a little bit better, so maybe you can buy it there if that's an option. I recently played Dinkum and released a before you buy video for it, and I'm so happy that it came out before making this list because I think it really belongs into the top farming games that you need to know about. Simply put, Dinkum is the Aussie baby of Animal Crossing and Minecraft. I'm not even kidding. It successfully borrows a lot of the mechanics of both of these games while also adding its own touch, and it makes it such a wonderful game. And you know what shocks me the most is the fact that this majestic game is made by only one person. Like, what? Dinkum introduces you to a lot of unlockable gameplay mechanics by using a system of licenses. However, combat at the moment is a little bit tricky, even though the developer is gonna fix it, and the rate at which things unlock can be a little bit overwhelming for some. That's why I think it's best to be a bit more acquainted with the farming genre before dipping your toes into this one. Regardless, I have so many good things to say about it, and as I said, I have covered it on the channel, so make sure to watch that video. So we explored some intermediate games, but how about we kick it up a notch and make things a little bit more spicy? Let's talk about the advanced farming games. Even though I placed Rune Factory 5 in the more intermediate category, I think Rune Factory 4 is better fit for advanced players. You can either choose to play the 3DS version or pick up the new remastered one on Nintendo Switch or PC. Once again, you are on a fantasy adventure with a charming cast of characters. You'll have tons of skills to acquire and master and plenty of monsters to tame along with different ones to fight. And you can also enjoy crafting so many different items. However, to me, the trigger system was the weak point. This does not mean that the game is bad, it just means that I always struggle with figuring out what I need to do next to progress the story. As always, you can resort to a walkthrough if you want to, but even with that, I still managed to get myself lost most of the time in this one. Another one that falls into the more advanced / difficult RPG farming games is called Kynseed. I've been playing through it for a while and I can easily say that it has a lot of potential. This one is all about the family tree that you want to create. Yourself and your offspring have plenty of destinies to choose from, ranging from wanting to build a family, being an adventurer, or opening different businesses and more. However, the game does not really hold your hand, so apart from the story that gives you some quests to follow, you'll you'll find yourself in a massive world to explore and lots of mysteries that you have to unfold on your own. There has been some controversy because this was supposed to be a 4-month early access game, which somehow managed to turn itself into a 4-year, long project. Now the devs say that it is in the final stretch, but we haven't seen any updates since April, so I have no idea what's going on there, but I can safely say that there's a lot of content already. So as always, it's up to you to decide if you're gonna dive into it now or wait until full release. Another more advanced farming game is called Graveyard Keeper, and I feel like this one falls also into the crafting genre. This borrows the art style of Stardew Valley and it adds the craziest twist on it. Instead of being in charge of a typical farm, you're in charge of dead bodies. Yup, so you're gonna have to bury them and take care of them in this medieval setting that doesn't even rely on typical day names such as Monday and Tuesday. Now, farming will become a part of your gameplay when you unlock the kitchen garden, and you'll have some crops to take care of, and the fun thing is that you can also ask zombies to lend you a hand. But I have to say that this game is quite complicated and it doesn't really guide you, so you might need to use the wiki, at least I did, for a lot of things every now and then. So I feel like this one is perfect if you're looking for a more bizarre kind of experience where challenging yourself is not a problem. I still find it fascinating that till this day, I still see nobody talking about Medieval Dynasty, and I have no idea why. I mean, the game has very positive reviews on Steam, so I'm not sure what's the problem, but I'm always happy to change things around and let you know about things that you are missing out on. Here, your main focus is to build your dynasty in a medieval setting, so your survival is key to the prosperity of your family and the villagers that decide to move in with you. It's very important to make sure that your reputation is high enough so more people move in, and it's also equally important to find yourself a mate, get married, and have a child who will carry your name and allow you to progress once your main character dies. You'll be on the hunt for wild animals, building houses and workshops just the way you want them to be, collecting resources, and making sure you stay alive. Even when the game is out of early access, the devs still have a roadmap ahead with so much new content to bring forward, so I highly suggest that you visit the store page and check this game out. Serin Fate has no problem letting you know right off the bat that it's very difficult and it's gonna kick your butt. This title is full of hidden secrets and, something that we don't do a lot in games, it's important to read text if you plan on having a slight chance of surviving. There's also the element of complex combat and lots of exploration, and you have magic on your side but difficult monsters ahead to beat, lots of characters to meet, that rhymed, and not only that, but even with farming, it will make sure that you are getting tested all the damn time. This is how the game is designed to be. It's made to test your limits and see where your boundaries are at, and if it still feels easy, then you can go with the hard mode, and I'll just say good luck to you with that. If you're bored with the same old farming mechanics and you're just looking for something to spice things up, then Serin Fate has to be on your next buy game. Right. And another game that I'm pretty sure you never heard of that is also in the advanced farming category is Veil of Dust. This is a story-driven farming RPG that takes place in the 1860s. You have to take care of yourself and your brother/sister depending on who you choose to play as, so you need to make sure that both of them get rest and proper meals to survive. However, the beauty here is the intriguing story that you see unfold. There's plenty of mystery, so it will keep you guessing. But what makes things a little bit difficult and challenging is that you have to keep up with everything, especially when it comes to beating down monsters, so things can be a little bit tough and you need to make sure that you always have food on hand to help you out. Pacing is everything, and you feel weak most of the time, but I feel like this is the beauty of it. It is in early access right now, but it offers you 25 hours of gameplay and a romance story that you can unfold already. And the devs are already promising more along the way, so I think you really need to play this one. And here's my question of the day for you. Which farming game is your favorite of all time? Make sure to let me know down in the comment section because I make sure to answer everybody. Now, if my videos ever help save you some cash or maybe help you find some hidden gems while also entertaining you, then make sure to squish that like button. And if you want to be a real bubbly, then you can go over to my Patreon page because I have some really fun perks for you, and I already have a fun offer that's going until the end of August where bubblies have been having a really good time challenging me to giving them verbal shoutouts. And so it goes without saying thank you to my bubbly club for the support, and a special shout out watch this. This is crazy. Y'all are majestic. I freaking adore you, but like, I don't know what's happening. But a shout out to Justin, Fate, Jacob, Kosal, Stephanie. Hey, I'm doing better now. Dan, Evan, Nathan, Janet, Ante, and Jose for going the extra mile. As always, stay bubbly, stay positive, and I'll see your gorgeous, beautiful, amazing self in the next one. Bye!